Damn geez, where to start? Oh, hello. How's your nothing? Nothing. Great, me too. Let's get a little creative and pretend you're, let's say, a guy. Let's say one of your hormones kicks in and you want some female attention with the added bonus of kisses, cuddles, and other bases. What will you do for it? Ask yourself regularly, for the sacrifice can be very costly, which means you're afraid of doing something wrong. Let me explain with my own example. Back in the day when I had no beard, I, like all guys, wanted a girlfriend. So she would walk with me, write goodnight letters before going to bed, and during the day we conquered all the expanse of our small but beautiful city. I was better with guys as friends and not so much with the ladies, all the time merging like some pothead into teammate. It wasn't that it was hard at all because I could ask my classmates for a pen or a pencil, and sometimes I could copy my homework, and that was the end of it. Then one day, it was my mother's birthday. We have a very large apartment, and she and my father invited all her friends, some uncles, aunts, and I thought, oh, here we go again. They'll be yelling, waving, dancing, and when they see my young body, they'll scream, "Is that your son? Oh, yes, that's our star boy. Oh my God, what a grown-up. He's so handsome." "That's right, look how strong he is," Dad shouted, pointing over there. "Come on, Dad, come on." Man, I'll put my panties on the line, and ladies will surely rejoice for seeing the comments that it was the hell out of everyone when they praise their child. Then they rub my soft cheeks until one of the father's friends that they have a daughter too. After all, what? There's just a daughter, and she'll be here soon. And at that moment, the bell rang, and in my belly too. And I was asked to open the door, so I opened it. And on the other side, oh my garble, there's an angel. And I didn't know her name, but when she said, it was Vasilia, though abbreviated as Vasya. I did not take it into account. I was overwhelmed with feelings. My tongue felt sharp rush of chakra, such that I could immediately throw my father on the paragon. My hands began to help her take her jacket off and friendly offered to go to my room. You should have seen the smile and the look of surprise, agreeing to my humble proposal. As soon as we were alone, questions and compliments flew out of me like a machine gun. I was just unstoppable, but occasionally my mother did it, opening the door and asking if we wanted anything. We answered that we weren't hungry, and that it continued to rouse the situation. And at one point, she asked me to get something. I felt in my heart that it was time to prove to her that I am a stud, and ran to the table to get a Coke and some fried chicken. Our conversation continued. Vasya ate, drank, and listened to me, but I still could not press the brakes, apparently. The pads needed to be changed, and as night drew near, the guests gradually drifted away. Her parents' turn came. It was a delightful evening, such thoughts, and I tried to go to sleep, but of course I couldn't. "She probably likes me," I whispered proudly in my head. A few days went by, and I suggested that she and I go for a walk in the park that had just opened. A nice place, I thought, just in case. I asked my parents for money, for ice cream or a hot dog or something in case she got hungry. The sun was shining in her snow-white hair. Her smile was cheering me up. The walk was going great, and then she suggested we go to a movie. I was embarrassed by the request, as I confess, and wanted to keep part of the money to have something to eat tomorrow. But apparently, it was not my fate. After the movie, I walked her home. In addition to walks, we talked, and in one of these chats, she had a request to me. Because she's now above the roof and need to take her favorite kitten to the vet for a shot in the back. The request embarrassed me, but as it seemed to me, I could not refuse this, and I had to go through the freaking city to her. And then, the vet. She kept this inadequate animal, while the door shoved him with a thermometer, then lick wounds received during the fighting game and drove back. The cat was a ball. I drove him like that several times. Phew. Well, now I have a reputation as a real prince, who can always be relied on. As my father used to say, where there's a good father, there's a good son. My services did not end there, but it seemed to me that I was doing everything right, because the reward for me was a kiss and more communication requests. As soon as she had a problem, I would fly out to the house and see her. I would do dishes, go clothes shopping with her, sometimes clean, and take singing class for company. Her voice wasn't very good, but I didn't talk about it. I was afraid she might not like that I didn't like it and stop talking to me. I was curious, so I decided that I wanted to sing something too. Not coping with it, I went to the singing teacher and asked her to test my voice. She was intrigued and lent me a couple of notes. It sounded like a walrus stepped on the bells and then began to tickle and simultaneously tell me joke about homeless people who were walking down the street, found food in the trash and decided to have lunch. But one of them offered to get spoons and ordered the second not to eat without him. The first one came back and the other had finished his meal, and the one who was leaving said, "I spit in it." The one who had just eaten couldn't stand the urge and immediately put everything back in its place. And then I heard the addendum, "I tricked you. I just wanted it warmed up." Ha! Isn't that funny? All the students there appreciated it, but she didn't. It's sad. I'm a humorous guy. I even thought that she was offended. But after my apology, she said that it was fine. Free of Vasilia's time, I spent doing my usual things, including raiding with my friends on the street or playing some game on the computer. So we got together, got in the mood, and especially me here call, again from her, nothing to do. So I got freaking iodine, guys. My friends were all over me as much as they could with what they had to say. How come I couldn't remember this song immediately? He had it. There was a boy, and there ain't no boy. Well, that's me. Don't get me wrong. Most of the time, I didn't feel strong urge to drop everything and run to her. And I even almost had to say no a couple times. But she made this voice and face like she was Lori asking for a boiled toffee. But who knew what was going to happen? It was toward the evening and we were both consumed with feelings and kisses. We went for a walk in our neighborhood, gradually approaching our house, and did not notice how we passed by not the most favorable area, where you can run into trouble, of which I did not know, and I was not up to it. And well, this happened. In general, 2 drunken thugs got to us, offering my girlfriend to go with them, and even for money. I, as an adequate person, did not pay attention to this and just began to speed up their pace, pulling her along. 4. If the dog barks, you do not have to bark at him in return. But then Vasya showed down and began to look at me reproachfully, and on her face I read the same question. Why aren't you doing anything? What am I supposed to do? Walk up to them and get a shot right in the stomach? What if my shot gets stopped and I end up on the ground? She didn't think about that. I tried to lead her on, but she continued to stall. And these morons won't stop barking. I'm both panicked and confused about what to do and what could happen if nothing is done. But let's look ahead a bit. I turned to them, and in a superhero pose, I sent to them a farmhouse. I turned to them in a strong pose, but they got aggressive and threatened to punch me. And we ignore them and move on. There are so many perks. You can take them and slather on them, reminding yourself of the right choice and untouched jaw. You can be happy for me. My will was not bent here, and I dragged her through force, but away from the wild and chaotic place. When we reached her doorway, she was hysterical that I did not defend her with honor and had not punished those 2 pathetic drunken idiots, that I was a chump and had allowed this to happen to my girlfriend. She was yelling at me all this. I realized that this was our last hangout. I could not stand this anymore, and if she wanted it so badly, she can go and kick their ass herself. And I went home. Vasya stopped talking, looked at me, and walked away. That's how, after a little time, I didn't become a wimp, because that's who I was turning into. What happened that night was bound to happen, and in our separation was inevitable, as you cannot sacrifice the health of you or your loved ones because of some idiots. Yeah, I do speak street lingo. The bottom line is that you do it yourself, for yourself. And if you can't, watch the video again and advise your friends. You are the most important person in your life. And take care of yourself and the people that you love. See you later.